And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up in spite of the ache. And
I'll start over.
Too much mic rub off the jacket. I was like,
Just kidding. Should we
so,
take the jacket off then?
Yeah, I mean, unless the jacket was crossing. So.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up in spite of the ache. And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
You guys, you recognize that voice? We have a really special guest on Dose of Bliss today. We have Presley Tennant from this season's The Voice.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Of course.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for singing that surprise intro. You are so good.
No problem.
You are one of my favorites from
Thank you
this
so
season.
much. Thank you.
So I wanted to start out first is, what was your journey like on The Voice? How did it even come to be on it?
It was honestly such a dream being there. It was everything like that I ever imagined and so much more. Being surrounded by like amazing musicians and different artists and getting to work with Kelly Clarkson was like a dream come true to me. Because I've watched her ever since I was younger when she was on American Idol. And I used to be like a giant fan of her. I think she was one of my first concerts, like ever. And so it was really cool, like knowing that and then being able to work with her. But it was kind of, when I first auditioned, it was definitely like, oh, let's just try it and see what happens. And I didn't think I would get as far as I did, which is really kind of cool because it's always something that I really looked up to and wanted to do, but I didn't know how far I would go. And but it was all just a journey for me.
Did you ever, when you were younger, look at the show and say, that should be me on it, I really want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch all different like television shows that, like the reality TV shows for like singing competitions. And The Voice was definitely one of my top favorites, if not was my top favorite. And so I would look at that and be like, that's what I want to do. But then I also wanted to do just the music completely like on my own. And so I think because I was able to do both of those and then kind of combine it all together, it was like my perfect little dream world. And so getting to do The Voice was such an amazing opportunity for me.
What made you take that step past the fear? Because a lot of people wouldn't even try.
It was more of just like, I know that the worst thing they could have told me was no. And then at that point, that's when you have to realize like, you just got to keep pushing past it. Like you're going to be told no so many times before you get told yes. And so that was like the thing for me that I really had to focus on. And so I also was very determined about getting there. Like I put so much effort and so much work into like my vocals. I would practice every day, nonstop, working on my songs and like different things and like my technique. And so I feel like I work extremely hard for it, and I was very lucky to land a spot on The Voice.
I feel like people don't even talk about that, what it takes to get on The Voice. So Did you send in an audition tape, or what happens? So I know you have to audition just to get an audition.
Yeah. When I was younger, like I was always kind of like in that realm of like everybody, like a lot of my friends ended up doing it before me. And so I got to see them do it, and I was always with them all the time. So I don't know how it happened, but I know that like I was contacted and I was like, okay, well this could be something I could do. So I sent in a video, I think. It was so long ago, it feels like. It's been almost a year.
That's crazy.
But I know I went in for like a different like audition, and it was just like one audition after another and after another. And so it was definitely like a whole round and like surreal thing of just like, oh, you got told yes this time, you're moving on forward. But it's like you can't get your hopes up with that.
Because there's so many people in the world, even though you're an amazing singer, you don't even know who you're up against.
Yeah, and for me, like music is not necessarily like a who's better type of thing. It's more of a preference for people and like what they like. And so it's like, someone may not like how I sound, but they'll love how someone else sounds, or vice versa. They might not like how someone else sounds, but they'll love how I sound. So it was all kind of just a learning process with that on its own. But I'm extremely grateful for that.
How did you get that mindset? Because a lot of people could take it personally, thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, or they want to stop, but you realize that it's just what someone's looking for in that moment.
I feel like what made me learn that is being surrounded by so many different types of artists of different genres and different levels and like different like skills and what we all do differently. So it's like I've been singing since I was 7 and I'm 16 now. But then there's people who have been singing only for a couple of years that are so insanely talented, or they've only performed like once or twice on stage. And so that's definitely like really crazy to me, and I get to see everybody's ways of like how fast they progress and like what they do differently, and we all kind of learn from each other. So it was like I'd take inspiration from so many people while I was there, and that was really cool.
So cool. And it's crazy that you're 16. It reminds me of Christina Aguilera because she was 16
Well, thank
when
you. That's
she
like
came
the biggest
out.
compliment ever.
That's because you have a powerhouse voice like that, and I could just see you growing the way that she has.
Thank you.
Because you're that good. You're that good where she's at. You're only going to get better.
Thank you.
So working with Kelly Clarkson, did you always have a dream that you would work with her someday?
Yeah, she's always been like one of my inspirations, and I think knowing that she came from a singing competition show was also really cool, because if I was going to push forward with this and like I was able to like move on and I was able to go to the blind auditions, and like if I turned a chair, I felt like she was actually my top coach who I would have picked. It was between like her or Adam. I was like kind of going teetering back and forth. But then like the day of, I was like, Kelly's the one. Kelly's the one. If it happens and like I get multiple chairs, or if I get no chairs, like I really would like to like talk to Kelly for a little bit and see like and pick her brain. But I feel like knowing that and being able to work with her, she's taught me so many different things. Like just like things about like when she's on tour, or like how she interprets a song differently than how I would interpret a song, because our perspectives are different. And so getting to work with her, I feel like my eyes were opened up to so many more different levels of music.
How did she help you build your confidence as an artist?
She helped me so much. Like, it's crazy. Like I was confident in myself, and like I knew that like I work extremely hard for what I do. And so, but I'm only as good as what I'm capable of doing and at whatever I can see. And so she really kind of opened my eyes to like a different style. Like with my last song that I did, it was Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. And so that was more of like a country pop soul kind of song to begin with, and it was upbeat and like fast. And so I came in and I was like, hey, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this completely. And so we really worked on just switching the song, like changing like the entire like arrangement so it fits who I would be as an artist now. Mm-hmm. And so that was what I found really cool too.
Did she say anything to you that's like going to stick with you forever?
She said like, there was like one, it was during that rehearsal, and she was saying that it was like, you can't, what's the right word? What did she say? Sorry, I'm like blanking right now.
It's okay.
It was more along the lines of like, you can't take yourself for granted for things. And it's like, and I do work extremely hard for what I do. And so she was like, you just need to keep working for that, because as soon as you settle down in it, that's when everybody else is gonna like start passing you, and like you're gonna be stuck in your ways.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you have to be willing to be able to learn.
Mm-hmm. That's really good advice that she gave you. And now switching into, we were talking earlier before we started filming about what everyone was like on set. Mm-hmm. What is the behind the scenes like of a competition? Because a lot of people would think that it's really cutthroat and people are mean, but I'm hearing it's the opposite.
Oh, it's like the complete opposite. I'm like, some of my best friends, like I made while I was there, and I'm so close with a lot of them, and almost all of them, if not all of them. But it's like one big family. Like, we're with each other all the time, and so like we automatically are getting really close, but we also share the same passion, and we all come from like different backgrounds though, which is really cool. So we all get to see like each other's like different worlds of like how we do things and what we do. And so that was really awesome to be around everybody. And it was like, I don't know, it's just really comforting while we're there.
Were you scared going into it, what the competition aspect would be like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I was definitely more intimidated by it all. Especially in the beginning, like when blind auditions were happening. Like, I knew like some artists, and like everybody was so amazing, and I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how to feel right now. Like I'm the 16-year-old full of like all these amazing adults that like have been singing for like longer than I've been alive, which is really like crazy. And they're all so phenomenal, and so I feel like that definitely hurt myself because I was thinking so much about that. But after like going back, and I would practice literally every day, I'd have like a vocal room and I'd go and sit and I'd just sing for like hours at a time. I definitely like took that in and like really pushed myself for that, to be up to their level, because that's what I really wanted. Like I didn't want to be like the one that was like left behind because they were younger. Like that was like my main thing.
Yeah, it's the thing. That's the thing you kind of say in your head to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good enough because I'm
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah, and in actuality, like they treated me just as an equal to them.
Yeah, it just goes to show, and that's something I talk about on the show, we just make up things on our head that nobody is thinking at all. Unless you say it, if you tell people, oh, I'm younger, do you think this will be a problem? And they'll be like, what? I didn't even think that about you.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was watching the show, when they paired you during, I think it was the cross battles, the lady you were against was scared because you were younger.
Oh, Rizzy, yeah.
Yeah, which she was amazing too.
She's phenomenal. Probably like, she was one of like those singers that I really, really did look up to, because especially like she writes on the side, like writing is like her main thing right now too. And so she showed me so many of her songs, and I was like in awe about everything. She's like a phenomenal writer, a phenomenal singer. And so it was definitely nerve-wracking being put up against her, but we're similar in a way, but we're also very different with how we interpret the song. And so I felt like that was really like, I got to hear her side of the story of like her song, of how she portrayed the song, and then I got to have my side of the story of how I portrayed the song.
That's so cool how you speak about when you're battling against someone that you are friends with. What is going on internally?
I mean, for me, I wasn't looking for like a result. Like I wasn't looking to like go like win or like right then and there. Obviously I would love to move on, but the goal was for one of us to win and then one of us to get stolen. And so I went into it not really thinking about this is like a do or die moment, and this is more of just like, this is an experience and this is going to be fun. And so I just went out there and kind of gave it my all. And then I had probably one of the most fun times like while I was up there with her. It's comforting to know that there's someone else beside you that's doing the same thing.
That's what's really cool too about, I think, about the cross battles is, in order to win, exactly how you said, it's not a goal to go home. It's for one person to move forward with the same coach and then another person to get stolen.
Yeah.
And if only people would look at life that way, that if we work together, we're both going to grow, which is what I feel like the community of The Voice is really all about.
Yeah, 100%.
What you have learned from the show. So when I'm sitting there watching the show, like, I want to take it back to like the blind auditions, and you're waiting for people to turn. What does that feel like? Because I'm sitting there dying. I don't know how you do that, because what if they don't turn and you still have to sing the whole song? You don't know what's gonna happen.
That was like my most stressful like time I think I've ever been through, like completely, like for music wise. That was so stressful for me because it was like chairs were already filling up. There was only so many spots left. And so like I was like, well, I'm gonna go sing and give it my all and then hope for the best. And so like when I was starting my song, I like felt myself being like kind of shaky, and I was like, okay, like let's see where this goes. But as soon as Kelly turned, I like had like a moment of relief afterwards and was kind of like, okay, everything's gonna be all right. Like we already made it, so like let's just keep pushing.
I also think about that too when the person turns. How do you keep your cool? Like the reverse.
I definitely was gonna cry. I swear to God, I was going to cry. But I like pulled myself together. Like I felt like in my head that I like cracked on like a note, and I was like, oh no, it's happening now. There's tears gonna happen. Yeah, it was definitely something, but it was a very special moment.
That's funny you think you cracked on a note, because I didn't even notice that. I just remember hearing you being,
I don't know if it was
oh my
that
gosh.
or just like my excitement took over, and I just got like really like excited, and I felt like everything was out of control, and then I like had to like rein it all back in, but yeah.
That's so cool. What about at the end? Because obviously you're not on the show anymore.
Yeah.
What does that feel like to go, be on stage, and that nervous feeling when you're with everybody and then you get off? What does that moment on stage feel like, and what does that night feel like?
When I got eliminated, I wasn't necessarily sad that I was leaving the competition, because I've learned so much from everything from while I was there, with working with the band, with all the other like people, like all the other contestants and Kelly. It was more of just like the fact that I didn't want to leave the experience of it all. But I was also extremely grateful of everybody there and what I have gone through, because I know that not many people get to have that opportunity. And so I definitely, like, that was like my whole thing behind it, is like this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Not many people get to say this, and it's like I was so fortunate for that.
And you can take now this opportunity, and now with social media and everything, it's so much easier than it was before. You can take it and move forward. You have all the people from the show that you can still collab with. I'm sure Kelly is still a mentor to you.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be at your future wedding one day and sing a song. That would be so cool. So where did you learn to be like this? Because, you know, do people ever come to you? You know, music is one of the hardest industries to break into.
Yeah.
Do people come to you and say, oh, it's too competitive, why do you want to do that?
I mean, I feel like for me, a lot of the times, this is what I've grown up in. So like the music industry is like where I've always been from when I was like 10 to now. Otherwise, I was like back at home playing soccer. But everything there, I've been surrounded by such amazing people, and I've been so fortunate for that. And I do see like the sides where it can be very competitive. But there's also so much room for everybody in this industry that it's more of like I feel like if you think about that, that's when it's not going to happen. Because it's like you're so focused on worrying about everybody else when you should be just worrying about yourself and what you're going to do to get there.
Was there ever a moment where you felt beat down, like you wanted to give up, or have you just never felt that way?
I mean, I definitely have had my moments, but I feel like I'm able to just like really like take a step back and then kind of realize like what I was going through, and then focus on like that, like what I was going through is like it's a feeling. It's like I'm human. That's all gonna happen. There's gonna be days where I'm gonna be down on myself, but there's also, you just have to kind of push yourself through that. And so that's what I did. And I'd been writing like all the time, and so I've written so many songs like based off of like all my feelings about what I'm going through. And so that's also like one of like my ways to push through it. But yeah.
That's so inspirational. So what's your biggest tip to somebody that you want them to learn, either if they're going for a dream and maybe they're afraid to push through and they need that step, or, you know, if they feel like giving up? You know, what's the biggest thing you learned from all of this?
I would say, as much as like people may want to like push you in a certain direction, always stay true to who you are, because you can make other people happy all day long, but it's not going to make you happy.
Exactly.
So as long as it makes you happy, then I feel like you're on the right path.
So we only have a few minutes left before we, you know, promote everything that you have coming up. Is there anything else that you wanted everyone to remember and to know?
Well, I mean, I have a new single coming out soon, which is really exciting. It's called Me and You, and I'm shooting a music video for that soon. And that's going to be like my next step with everything, post-voice. But yeah.
That's so excited that you're looking forward. So many people, like I said, we're always motivational here. You know, so many people would be like, I'm off the show, I'm done, and I got a single, I'm going. It's just like, this is just part of my career moving forward. And where can people see your music video?
It's going to be coming out on YouTube very soon, but the song will be on all like music platforms, so Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. Whatever you can think of, it's probably there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody where they can find you on social.
You can find me on Instagram, which is @PresleyTennant, as well as on Twitter and Facebook is all the same. And then, yeah, it's all Presley Tennant.
You guys got to follow her. I mean, you probably are already. If you watch The Voice, you've seen her. She's we saw her first on Dose of Bliss. She's about to hit the big time. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can binge watch all of the episodes of Dose of Bliss on Apple TV and the EverTalk app, and on Roku, and of course my YouTube channel @Lindsay B. Hoffman. I will link everything in the description on my channel. And of course, if wherever you're watching this, please subscribe, give it a like and a comment, and of course say hi to Presley. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.